You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, the #1 resource for growing your function musician business. If you're a solo wedding singer, part of a 12-piece luxury show band, or anything in between, and want to learn from other successful musicians, you're in the right place.
You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast. It is good to be back for season 3. I'm super excited to bring you another 16 episodes with some amazing guests. I've already recorded loads and I've got loads lined up as well in the coming weeks. If this is your first time listening, then welcome. If you're a regular listener, then welcome back. This podcast is all about helping you grow and manage your function musician business. Each week I sit down with an amazing guest to discuss what's worked for them, what hasn't, and the valuable lessons that they've learned along the way. And together we'll explore how to build a successful business without burning out in the process. So I've got a few bits to fill you in on before we dive into the episode. So this is actually a bit of a milestone episode, as this is technically episode 50, which is for me very exciting. And if this is your first time listening, you have so many amazing episodes to go back and listen to, even if I do say so myself. And I hope you enjoyed the mini series as well. I got some great feedback on that. Might do it again if there is enough interest. If you have any questions that you kind of want specific answers to, let me know and we'll have a think about doing that again at the end of this series. Also, you might have noticed that episodes are now going out on a Tuesday instead of a Monday, nice and early at 5 a.m. And that is because I just kept being super unorganized, and it would get to Sunday night and generally I'm either working on a shoot or taking a day off, and I'd realized that I haven't put an episode together and then have to rush Sunday night to get it all sorted. So doing an hour on a Tuesday, it gives me Monday to sort it out. But anyways, other exciting news is that you may have seen over on Instagram that we now have an official sponsor of the podcast, and that is Acoustic Backs And Tracks. Many of you will already know who they are and what they do, but for those that don't, they make incredible premium acoustic back and tracks for musicians. So many of my clients already use them and speak so highly of the quality, customer service, and the pricing as well. They're super reasonably priced. You can pick from thousands of tracks already on their site, or you can have something completely custom made for you, different instrument, tempo, key, whatever you want. And they are also giving listeners a cheeky 10% discount, which you will be able to hear a bit later in the episode. So yeah, I'm really excited to be working with them. In other news, a good friend of mine has asked me to start managing his band. So long story short, they started a band a couple of years ago to play at one of their weddings, one of the members' weddings. It's a karaoke band and they play songs from Kerrang era, pop punk, new metal, that kind of thing. They're called Karaoke, great name. Anyways, none of them have any experience in the function world, and so they came to me and asked me if I'd be interested in sort of helping them out, maybe managing them a bit, and which is not something I've done before, but I thought it would be a great experiment to kind of test all of the things that we talk about and learn each week in this podcast, and give you little updates along the way as well. Not much has happened yet, but for us, the obvious first step is to shoot some promo, which we're going to be doing at the end of the month. So I will give you an update after that's done, and we'll see how it goes. Anyways, I think that's about everything I need to let you know. Let's get into the episode. I really hope you enjoy my conversation with Ellen Blane. You're listening to the Full-Time Function Musician Podcast, and on today's episode, I'm super excited to be joined by award-winning wedding and events musician, Ellen Blane. Ellen, welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. I know we've been back and forth trying to get this organised for a little while because it is the height of wedding season at the minute. So thank you for taking the time to come and chat to me as well.
That is all good. Yeah, no, it's a bit nuts at the minute, to be honest. Yeah. I know before I had a guitar replacement situation happen and then all sorts, but yeah, super happy to be here.
And did you get that? You got that all placed and sorted all right?
Yeah.
So what actually happened to your guitar?
Well, essentially, so I've got my kind of main guitar that I use for all of my weddings, gigs and things like that. She's recently anyway not been doing too great. I've had to get her repaired a couple of times for various different things. I was actually away. I think I had a birthday party and then the next day I had a wedding. And that morning I was in the hotel restringing the guitar because one of my strings had gone the night before. So I was restringing the guitar, and then one of the tuning pegs just broke. Just came off. And I thought,
nightmare.
Oh dear. It was okay because I have a spare guitar that I always take with me anyway. So it wasn't like, oh my God, what? Because again, like a lot of my fellow musicians do, we carry spares of everything you can possibly imagine. So I had a spare guitar anyway. And to be honest, even if I didn't have that, I'd probably just play it without that string.
Yeah.
But I had literally 5 events the next week. And the spare guitar is fine. It sounds okay, but using the spare for all of those was like, that's not a great situation.
Yeah.
And then I went guitar shopping, and that day I found a guitar, which is nuts because I thought it was going to take me a lot longer to find one, but I did.
Nice.
It's very exciting.
I did see on Instagram, it is a beautiful guitar as well.
Thank you. I know, she's a beauty. I'm actually a little bit scared of playing her at the minute. I'm like touching it like this, very gentle, because it's like shiny new.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like that's a really good lesson straight off the bat as well, is like having spares for everything, because I definitely have not done that for like filming stuff before, and something breaks and it's just a tiny little cable or something, and you can't do anything without that one thing.
It is. It's really, I mean, I learned that lesson actually one birthday party gig I did, and I was having some really bad crackling with the guitar, like really bad. And I didn't have a spare of anything at that point. I didn't have a spare lead or anything. So I couldn't fix it. And so after that, I was like, I need a spare everything.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. So, I feel like you only kind of learn that lesson once you've like been in trouble with it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's get into our episode today. So Ellen is an amazing singer and guitar player who I think you've got a pretty unique voice and pretty unique playing style, which really sets you apart from other people in the industry, I'd say. And it's been really amazing to watch your journey and your business grow over the last sort of year and a bit or whatever, since you've kind of transitioned full time and into weddings and stuff as well. And we're going to be learning a little bit more about that in a bit. But first things first, I'd love to go back to the start and kind of where you got started and the journey that's brought you to where you are now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I guess if we're going like all the way back, it depends how far back we're going.
Some people go back to birth. Some people go back like a couple of years. Like
came out the womb, I was singing. No, I mean, I think again, it's a kind of running joke in my family. I was kind of singing before I was saying words, basically. So, I mean, my favorite TV show was Fun Song Factory. Mum used to just plunk me in front of that and I'd be happy for ages. When I was a kid, I did like stage school. I did all the talent shows I possibly could, basically anything involving performing or getting on stage. And that kind of evolved as I kind of went through school. I then kind of I did kind of A-levels, university. That's when I kind of started YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a massive turning point for me in terms of doing covers.
Yeah.
I was doing that every week. That kind of platform grew a little bit. And then at the same time, I was doing pubs, restaurants, open mic nights, basically anywhere that I could, I would be singing. I was kind of writing my own music too at that point. That was something I was quite interested in. And luckily, when I was at uni, that was kind of how I made my money. It was kind of singing in pubs and stuff like that. And then, some other kind of really cool things were kind of happening with the covers. I did, there was an MTV cover of the month competition, which I then won. That was really cool. I got to meet loads of people. Again, it was just another kind of door that opened there. And that's when I left uni. Things went a little bit downhill from that point, because that's when I got into my corporate job. Yeah. In recruitment. And the music then took a bit of a backseat. Yeah. And it was one of those things I did mostly because, I mean, A, I didn't think it was possible to earn a living from music. And B, kind of everyone around me was doing it. It was kind of like, that's what you do. You go to uni, you get a job. And sadly, music takes a back.
It's a hobby, yeah.
Exactly. And that's what it was for like 2.5 years. And then it got to a point where I was obviously very miserable in this job, very stressed all the time. It was not good. And that was when I was like, look, if I don't do this now, I will regret it forever. Yeah. I don't want to be 50, 60 years old all the way down the line being like, I wonder what would have happened if I'd done this. So by that point, I'd met my husband, we were together, and then we decided to buy a little flat, which I'm currently sat in. And the plan was basically get the flat while I have the job. My husband's also self-employed. So 2 of us being self-employed, if we wanted to do that, would be more sticky. Mm-hmm. And then once we got the flat, I quit the job. And that was when I was kind of like, right, I'm doing this, and we're going to make it work. And then when was that? I quit my job in 2023, kind of the end of 2023. So January 2024, I was like, right, I need to get my bum into gear basically and make a website, get showreel content. I didn't have a showreel at that point, or at least material that was like how I kind of envisioned my business to be in terms of weddings. Weddings was like the main thing that I really wanted to do. I'd done a few weddings at that point, probably fewer than people might think. But that was kind of the road that I really wanted to go down. And I think at that point I was like, I need to market myself as that if I want to be a full-time wedding musician. And then last year was kind of a bit of a building year. And this year's kind of like my first big wedding season, I'd say. Yeah. And here we are, basically.
Yeah, awesome.
A journey. That's for sure.
I'd love to go back a little bit and back to the YouTube days, or maybe not the YouTube days. Are you still doing that now?
I'm not, but I would love to. It's one of those things that I kind of stopped as I got into my job. Just because I didn't have the time for it. And then since I quit my job, and I now have this job, every kind of waking moment of my day has been kind of around that. Just because, again, I'm someone that I'm a massive perfectionist. I have a lot of kind of ideas and constantly ways that I could be improving things. I would like to, once things have settled down, particularly kind of after this wedding season, to go back to YouTube because I love it. And it also encouraged me to learn a new song every week, which I am doing a lot of, to be fair, now, but posting them, I love social media and that side of things too. So I'd love to do that again. But sadly, I haven't. I think the last time I posted a cover was maybe a year ago or something like that. I'm not sure. But hopefully one day that would be a good thing to do, to get back to.
I wonder, like, I've not heard of anyone really using YouTube before in terms of a marketing thing, but I guess you weren't really using it as a marketing thing then. It was just kind of because you didn't have a business at that point to market, so it was just kind of you doing your thing, which I guess is quite organic, and that's why people resonate with it. But I wonder if it could work now with a wedding singer business as well.
It totally could. I mean, I don't know, to be fair. Most of my, I guess, social media marketing stuff is all kind of through Instagram. Yeah. And TikTok a bit. TikTok I struggle with a bit more. But Instagram for me is like the place where everything's kind of kicked off, really. Yeah. And in terms of like marketing and things like that. But I think YouTube is great as well. It's just one of those things. It's kind of more long form content. I'd kind of be willing to post like full length covers and whereas I think at the minute it's very much short form. People, want to see something quick, get a good clip of something. Do you know what I mean? Rather than watching kind of a full length thing. But I don't think that that's out necessarily. But I think in terms of quick results, marketing wise, I've had a lot of success on Instagram and TikTok. So
I want to dive a bit more into your social media in a bit. I'd love to go back to kind of that transition from your corporate job to a full-time musician. That's interesting that you kind of held on to get the mortgage, because Kirsty, my wife, you've met her, we're both self-employed and we're trying to buy a house at the minute, which is a bit more difficult if you're self-employed. So yeah, wish us luck on that, because it's a bit of a nightmare. But so kind of, I guess, how you knew what you were going to do. You knew you had a sort of date that you were going to finish and do this transition or whatever. Did you do anything to kind of prepare for that?
Yeah, so there were a few things. The number one thing I think that was really important is making sure that financially we weren't going to be in a situation where if I earned nothing, or we'd be okay for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate actually fortunate and unfortunate is kind of two ways of looking at it, because when I quit my job, it did take me a couple of months. It was a scary thing to do. And I take my hat off to anybody that does that, because I think it's, especially when you've been in a situation like that, in a job like that, you have security, you know when your money's coming in every month, to then not having that, and especially the unknown where it's like, I'm not fully booked yet. Yeah. I don't know what next year is going to look like. I don't know if this is even going to work at all. For me, I'm quite a risk averse person. Highly organized, I'm not good with kind of just like going with the flow. So in terms of preparation, again, very fortunately, my husband he's self-employed in events as well. So I knew there were ways that I could get kind of like agency work, very short term. We're talking days of like event work here and there. So my plan was to kind of join in a little bit with that while I got things set up. So I think, and also when I quit my job, they very kindly offered me to stay on as kind of a consultant, self-employed situation, which was great. It made me feel a lot better about quitting. Yeah. But unfortunately, my time was just still taken up by that. And it got to January. It was 6 months later. And I was like, I'm still not doing what I want to be doing. I'm just doing the exact same thing, just 3 days of the week instead of 5. And it didn't really work. But making sure financially that things would be okay if I didn't get any gigs. Again, we purposefully got a smaller flat further out of London, just so that our expenses were lower. So that, again, we had fewer outgoings, basically, and that was a lot lower. And then, I was kind of doing, because I think also it's unrealistic, I think, unless you have built things up more, to quit your job completely and then just swing right into it, the full-time stuff, without any kind of like dips or period of time where you're not really making anything. So I think definitely for me, going down to part-time or picking up on kind of that agency work that I could do 2 or 3 days a week and then spend the rest of my time building stuff up, was really important for me. That was kind of the big thing. And also being patient, making sure that things like content was up to scratch. Obviously, I did my show reel with you, making sure that my website was kind of built and just working on that and taking my time to do that, because I think that's meant that, it makes things a lot easier once you have all of that in place to then, hop on booking platforms or use that for, agencies, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the big thing for me was just, making sure that was all okay, so that when I quit my job, it wasn't going to be completely, I can't pay my mortgage next month. Kind of thing.
The wedding industry specifically, is a tough one, because when you start, you're not booking anything for likelihood for like a year in advance, if not more. So it's a real struggle to like sort of stop a corporate business and start another one straight away, because those bookings are going to come in for a while. So I guess the agency work kind of filled that gap. Was that sort of just more the event side of things than the wedding side of things?
Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't music at all. It was a very mixed bag of things. My goodness, like even things down to like scanning tickets and just helping run events, theatre managing, business shows, like things like that, really. We're talking about 2 or 3 day jobs. And that is definitely something. And there are so many creatives that do that, actors, musicians and dancers, and just to supplement income as well, especially if you're someone kind of in the creative world. And you don't, because the thing is for me is I couldn't build anything while I was in my previous job because it just sucked all the time and energy out of me completely. So it was like, I knew if I wanted to do this, there's not much I can do while I'm still in this job. I kind of just have to leave and go for it. But that kind of thing is very much there in terms of kind of agency event work. There's always, do you know what I mean? Jobs like that where an agencies you can sign up to and it's super flexible. And I did that, I mean, pretty much up until earlier this year, just to supplement. This year has kind of been my big growth year, I'd probably say, where I'm very fortunate now. This is my job completely, but it's definitely been a process rather than one day I'm in this job and then one day I'm full time doing this. I think that's important to remember, especially because a lot of people think, I can't do it because I'm not in a position to. It is a process and it's unrealistic. I mean, for some people, maybe obviously everyone's in a very different situation, but at least for me, it was like, this is going to be a transition rather than a jump, if that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely don't think I'd be able to do it without getting some sort of part-time job as well. And something that like you don't think about once you've walked out the building, just again, so you can focus. Like once back when I had to have a part-time job, it was just in sort of like a warehouse. So I could it was just like mindlessly thinking about my business while like doing like menial tasks or whatever. And just covering those bills at the same time. This episode is brought to you by Acoustic Backs And Tracks, your go-to source for premium acoustic back and tracks that sound and feel like the real deal. Whether you're performing at weddings, recording content, or just practicing at home, it's like having a professional band right there with you. Their tracks are recorded by top session musicians with real instruments and real emotion. No lifeless MIDI here. Need something custom? They've got you covered. From key changes to mashups to exclusive tracks made just for you. Plus, their customer support is fast, friendly, and actually understands musicians. No task is too big for them. And here's the best part. Listeners of the Full-Time Function Musician podcast get 10% off their first order. Just head to acousticbacksandtracks.com and use the code FUNCTION10 at checkout. That's function all in capitals and 10 at the end, but you can find their website link and the code in the episode description. When you started getting some wedding gigs then, was that mainly through social media straight away, or where did they sort of come from? Yeah, I mean, a kind of mix of avenues, to be fair. The first kind of bunch, again, I'm also signed up to a bunch of booking platforms, which I think is a really good thing to do. If you want to book kind of weddings and things like that, Encore is a really good one. Yeah. So I kind of started from there, and you do have to be a bit persistent with it, especially if you don't have reviews on there and stuff. Just to go, because we haven't really discussed Encore on here before, but like kind of, how does it work? Yeah. So it's essentially you kind of build your profile on there, put kind of your content, your show reels, your photos, kind of a description of what you do, rough idea of pricing, but that's not super important. And you essentially tick boxes as to kind of what you are as a musician, whether that's a saxophonist or a singing guitarist, singing pianist, just a singer without an instrument, whatever it is that you do. And then basically you kind of get notifications and emails of people that are looking to book someone for their wedding, for their event. And then you essentially apply for that. And that individual will get probably a bunch of applications, and then we'll pick someone you can message over Encore, and then they can kind of book you through that platform.
Yeah. So kind of like Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that, but for musicians.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really good, especially for musicians. And again, if I get a lot of comments from people that put me on there saying, but we don't want an agency taking a cut and things like that. And obviously, they do take, well, actually you quote what you want to take home, and then they'll add on their fee on top.
Right.
So that's how it works. But they take care of a lot of the process. This sounds like an Encore ad right now. But it's really good because they deal with the payments, they deal with admin, legal, contract aspect of it. You don't have to worry about any of that. And it's great. And they're a great bunch too, super helpful. So that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
But then for me, social media was a big one, particularly Instagram. And also having a website because I think a lot of what happened is that as my Instagram grew, people, again, I was kind of looking at kind of the analytics on my website and where the people were coming from, typically from Instagram, clicking the link in my description for my website and then submitting a contact form through there. But yeah, social media is a big one. And also paid ads, which I think a lot of people don't always consider.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit of a controversial one, just because I think a lot of people get funny or aren't sure about paid ads. Do they work? Is this a bit like I'm buying my views, my followers? That's a bit embarrassing if someone sees a sponsored post from me. My view on it is that, I mean, it's like any business. Coca-Cola have a marketing budget, for example. Yeah. And I think if your content is good, it's high quality, it shows your skills well. Essentially all it's doing is putting that content in front of more people and in front of the right people.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of up to that person that's viewing it what to do, whether they want to follow you or send an inquiry or whatever that might be. And I started doing that more in January, and that's been also super helpful as well.
Okay, yeah, interesting. Do you did you have to learn that first of all? Did you sort of, I don't know, watch some YouTube videos or get a book or something like that to learn that, or did you just kind of just go for it and see what worked?
I kind of just went for it, and that's a big lesson I think I've learned. And that again, I've always been someone that's been a bit afraid of investing or spending money in the fear that I'm not going to get that back. But I was encouraged, particularly by my husband. He's very much like, just do it, like just try. You don't just put an ad out and see what happens. Yeah. If it doesn't work, that's okay. But I think a lot of it is just playing around with things, and sometimes some aren't as successful as others. And you can also narrow down who it's showed to, like the interests of the people that you want, weddings, florists, singers, whatever it is. So you can kind of tailor it to who it will be shown to, basically. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of how I kind of discovered it, it was something that I think I just kind of found it. It's something that Instagram pushes. Yeah. So I knew that it was there. And I think social media is really difficult because I think in terms of algorithms and how it works, it's a lot more difficult to not even get your content out to new people, but to get it out to the people that even follow you. It's quite difficult. So yeah, it's definitely something not to just brush over and think, well, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to spend money. For example, I might spend, I don't know, 100 quid on an ad for a month, and that's got me 7 weddings.
Wow. Yeah. That's an insane return on that kind of money, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's just, yeah. And I think if that's not working, it's probably worth looking at the content itself. And again, it's like, that's why it was so important for me to get a professional show reel. I mean, I've done a few with you now at this point, but it's because they're really good, and it's making sure that people can really see what you have to offer. And I think, but yeah, when people see that, it's basically just getting yourself in front of the right people.
Yeah.
Which can be very difficult to do. I mean, that's just kind of one way, but it's been a good way.
Yeah.
Just to even get the ball rolling. Because then once that happens, then more people are clicking on your website comes up, more than it would have done before, that kind of thing. But yeah, social media is a powerful one.
Yeah, for me, ads, like I really want to run some ads, but I'm scared of like just wasting money because I don't know what I'm doing. Not because I don't think they'll work if I knew what I was doing right. It's just that I don't know what I'm doing. But I think maybe the best way is just to try it and see what works with a kind of smaller budget.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. I'm really not spending very much, but it's just enough that, it's just pushing it out in front of the right people. And it is quite straightforward, at least in my experience. It's kind of, you can create I can't remember what it's called, your audience or whatever it is. You can create select age ranges, interests, things like that, parts of the country or parts of the world, whatever, you want to, wherever you want it to be, basically. And then, I think at that point I kind of just did one, and I've kind of fiddled around with it since then. But, I think the important thing is just to kind of try it again. It doesn't have to be much.
Yeah.
But it's also okay to spend.
Yeah. The beauty of it is as well is if you can get it right and you can get something that does work, it's almost like a tap that you can turn on and off. Like, I'm not that busy at the minute. Cool. Let's turn the tap on. Bookings come in. Yeah. Oh, I'm too busy. Turn it off again.
Yeah.
What about just general social media then? Because you've got a pretty hefty 13,000 followers on Instagram. Do you have sort of any sort of strategy behind that, or is it just whatever you fancy posting, you post?
Yeah, I think another thing as well for me that I think in the past I've felt more like it's a negative thing, but I think now I'm definitely pleased that I am this way, which is I'm a massive perfectionist when it comes to what I share on social media and what goes on my main feed. I'm a massive perfectionist. In the past, it's been very frustrating because I'll take content at a wedding or at home or wherever it is, and I'll edit it or watch it back, and I'm like, that's not good enough. And I think before, it's always been like in the back of my mind, you need to be posting like 3 times a day or 7 times a week if you want any kind of success on social media. And that probably, I mean, hey, I don't know, maybe if I posted more regularly of the stuff that I am posting, that would probably be better. But I do think for me, what has worked is quality over quantity.
Yeah.
I think. And that it is okay to be picky about what you share. And I guess my Instagram stories are a little bit more, that's kind of where I'll post more kind of chatty stuff or stuff that I don't need to be like super polished or whatever it is. But I think also being very specific, again, I was quite scared when I started to kind of narrow down my content to being a wedding musician or a singer. It was a bit confusing because at the time I'd released some music in late 2023, which was great fun. It was just music I already had that I wanted to put out. But when you clicked on my profile, it was like company EP out now. And then it was me in a pub. And then it was me at a festival or like on holiday, like holiday days. And so I think that was probably confusing for anyone that was coming across my page and then not really being sure what it was I actually was doing or what, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for me, kind of niching that down, and also I don't think that has had any impact because I was afraid that it might put people off who want to book me for public gigs or for other private things like corporate events or parties that they wouldn't want to, because if they see kind of my content online and how I'm presenting myself. I'm a wedding musician, therefore I'm going to lose out on that stuff. Because I still very much do a mix of kind of everything, less of the public stuff now, but still corporate parties, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think what's been good is now what I put out is very tailored to weddings. And I'm very kind of aware of that when I'm posting stuff. So the people that are following me are kind of the people that I want to see my stuff and who are thinking about getting married or engaged or, that kind of thing. So I think that's been good, is to have targeted content rather than lots of content that's a bit confusing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
That's been a big one, I think. I mean, I'm kind of just speculating at this point because I'm not 100% sure myself, but I might be wrong.
No, I think you're right on that. And I think what the other thing that I've noticed that you do as well is that on those stories, that's kind of where I feel like we can get to know you a bit better, get to know the real Ellen or whatever, because there's holiday stuff and there's and then like just general life stuff and things, and people love that.
Yeah, and that's a massive thing too. I don't want either. It's a difficult balance to find, because I also don't want people to not see me or my personality, because also it's a people business. Like, you're also booking me for your wedding day. Like, you don't want to, it's nice for people to build a bit of emotional connection to you, because it's such an emotional day and personal day. But yeah, so I love posting my stories, because again, that's kind of where I'm a lot more relaxed, and I'm like, things don't have to be super, and that's where you can kind of get to know me a bit more personally. Yeah. But then on kind of the main feed, it's a lot more polished and a bit more streamlined, and there's not too much going on. I do need to post more, that I know.
It's hard to do it all the time though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult. I do find it difficult, because also social media is very difficult in the sense that I'm following a lot of incredible musicians and singers. It's very hard to not compare yourself to other people.
Yeah.
And it can definitely get the better of me sometimes. And I think it's good that I'm picky and that I'm a perfectionist in everything and in that sense. But at the same time, it can hold me back sometimes when I should just post something, but I'm like, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, social media, I think we've said this a million times on here before, but it's like the best and the worst thing at the same time, right? But it's something we're unavoidable now. And actually, as on my kind of last question is on your website and how that kind of works alongside it. I think you mentioned earlier you made the website, or you got someone else to make it, or
I did. I made it myself. It was a journey. I used it.
It looks great and it looks super professional. I think it's got everything on there that you'd need for a wedding and event singer. But do you have any sort of like stats or anything? I don't want to throw you under the bus with loads of figures or anything, but like, do you like how much sort of stuff comes just through social media and stuff that just comes through website? Are people finding your Google or anything? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know the ins and outs. That's something I want to dive into more. Again, there's lots of different things that I think and avenues that I can be looking at. I think it's just at the minute, it's just been so crazy nuts. I haven't. But in terms of what comes through, a lot, it's probably about 50-50 that I will get either direct kind of messages on Instagram versus contact forms through my website. I think a lot of the contact forms, because I have a contact form section on my website. If you click contact me, you can just fill in the details that I would need to give a quote, basically what the event is, that kind of thing, any other details. That then comes through to my email address and then I reply there. But I also have that website link in my Instagram. So it is a bit muddy for me at the minute. What is people just finding my website or people coming through my social media and then using my website? But I think the website is a really, really, really useful tool, even if people aren't coming from Google onto my website, even if they're going through Instagram, because it's just a really good spread of information,
pricing, things like that, just to get a rough idea of what you offer.
Yeah.
It's just a bit more, you can go a bit more in depth than you can on social media. But yeah, to be honest, I don't know the real breakdown and stats and things like that of where people are coming from. It is a bit of a mix, I think, between kind of social media and then just people finding my website or recommendations. Again, sometimes I'll give cards out at weddings, and I've had quite a few now weddings. It was really nice. Actually, the other week I played at a wedding of a friend of someone who I played at their wedding last year.
Yeah.
And they were there as a guest, and that was nice. So it's like they will have also gone through my website. So yeah, it's kind of like a nice central point, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know the ins and outs data wise.
No. I think it just makes a profile look even more professional if you've got a website. Like, I know some people don't think you need them, but it's like, it's not that expensive to have a website these days. And it just makes you look like you're a professional at what you do. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just kind of more information on there. People can learn a lot more about what you do and have a bit more confidence in who they're booking, what they're booking. It's kind of it's where you can kind of highlight everything that you really want to highlight. And then there's an easy point of contact there for people just fill out a contact form.
Yeah.
And it's all just a bit more streamlined that way, rather than having to deal with like just random emails and Instagram messages and TikTok messages or whatever it is. And it's kind of like all in one place, which is quite nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much covers all my questions. So is there anything that you wish I'd asked you before we move on to the next bit of the show?
Ooh, question. I don't think so. The thing is, I can talk for England about anything. So. Also, my brain is just everywhere, but I don't think there's anything I wish you'd asked me. I think we've kind of covered most things, to be fair.
I think we got a pretty good overall picture of kind of your strategy and stuff there. Cool. So next bit of the show is your best gigs and your worst gigs. And I'd love to know a little bit about, some of your good experiences, some of your bad experiences you've had maybe in the last year or so.
Interesting. Do you know what? I'm very lucky. I think that I've not had, I don't think I've had a bad wedding. I've had some more trickier weddings and some more like logistical things, like one wedding where the power supply was like miles away. So I kind of had to crawl through hedges and things like that. But I've not really had the only kind of recent one, which isn't really wedding related, I can think of. And I won't say where it was or what it was, but it was kind of a semi-private gig. Again, very typical to what I would normally do. I was kind of expecting it to be, normally you'd go into like, if it's a restaurant or like a hotel or like a residence place, wherever it is, they'll kind of have a lounge. People will be sitting, chatting. You're kind of just providing the vibes. That's normally kind of how it goes. I went to this booking and I went in. The first thing I saw was a poster of me with a QR code with a link for tickets. And I thought, oh, this is strange. And I went in and like the lounge area had kind of been rearranged so that all of the chairs were kind of facing the performance area.
Right.
And I thought, oh no, I think I've got an audience on my hands. And I ended up playing for 2 hours for a very attentive audience of about 10 people. And it was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done. So that was not so fun. I mean, it was fine, but that was just a bit of a weird experience because, again, normally I'm just kind of playing to just people.
Yeah.
Chilling out, and then all of a sudden I had like 2 rows of people just in silence. And
had they bought tickets as well?
No, the tickets were free.
Right, okay. So but these other people making some money off you as well.
But yeah, and I don't know what they were expecting because obviously I don't really do original gigs at all. That's just not something really my heart's in. But they kept referring to me as the artist. And the artist is here. And I was thinking, oh no, I don't know. I think you may have got the wrong end of the stick of what this is.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fine. It was just a very different experience. I was not expecting it at all. But yeah, it's very different playing to a silent, attentive audience than like in, kind of a bustly lounge or something like that. It's very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely not a great one. Best, again, I've had loads of good. I've had so many good weddings. Every wedding I do is like amazing, and I love it. Trying to think of like, oh, there was a really good one actually. It was more Christmas. Again, it's not a wedding related one, but I was playing in a Peter Jones, and I think I was kind of halfway through stick season, and my mum and dad had actually come to see me that day, and they were kind of sat watching me at like, I don't know, there was like a little bit you could sit on. And then this guy kind of walks and sits next to my dad, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, that is Eddie Redmayne. And he's there with his kid, and I can see my dad chatting to him. I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? I'm kind of halfway through stick season. And yeah, he gave me a wave and a smile and clapped for me. So that was really cool.
Wow, nice.
That was a good experience. Apparently my dad had turned around to him and said, that's my daughter. And I said, please tell me that's not the first thing you said.
Did your dad know who it was, or had just thought it was just some guy?
I don't know. I think he did know who it was. I think he recognised him, but he wasn't 100% sure who he was. But yeah, very funny. And that was also a day that a lady had booked me that evening for her. She saw me playing there, booked me for her like Christmas party in the evening. And then some of the cast of Made in Chelsea were there. And I was just like, this is just a weird thing to do in the day. But yeah, that's sometimes how it goes. It's just every day is different.
Yeah, it's wild where this like career can take you, isn't it? Yeah, without even really doing. Yeah, I was just in a shop and all this in London, and it's like, yeah, you just never know. You never know who's watching you. That's the thing. Yeah. So I'm guessing you're not missing the full-time corporate job at the minute, then?
No. Not at all. That is, it's one of the best things I've done, if not the best thing I've done obviously this is my dream anyway. I think for anyone who loves music or is in music, it's obviously a massive dream to have this as my job. I don't think I genuinely thought, probably until this year, that it was actually something I could do fully. Yeah. Corporate life just wasn't for me at all. It was stressful. It was tiring. I wasn't sleeping. And I wasn't doing music, which was just a bit soul destroying, to be honest. I think further down the line, even if anything happens, I don't think I'd go back there. I probably for sure.
Yeah, it's always in the back of my mind. Like if for whatever reason everything goes shit, then I don't know. I just move to Australia and work in a bar or something like this. Yeah.
I'll just be a receptionist or teach music or something. I'm like, I couldn't go back to doing that. Not a chance.
As we said, we're kind of right in the like peak of wedding season at the minute, and I know you said you were looking forward to some downtime to kind of figure out what's next. But yeah, I mean, have you got any sort of ideas of like what you want to do for next year, or change for next year, or anything to like help just move forward? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's loads of things kind of constantly flying around my brain of like, what can I be doing? Because there's a lot that I can be doing more. I think I've focused a lot on social media kind of the last year. I'm doing my first wedding show in October, which will be nice. So I'll be there as a supplier. I've not done anything like that before. So I'm curious to kind of see how that goes. I think I'd like to be more consistent on social media. I think I've got what I want to put out down. I think being more consistent with that, and probably networking a bit more. I've found that more difficult, just because, and I think that's kind of led from social media, because every wedding that I've done has been somewhere new. It's been difficult to kind of build those relationships with other suppliers and like venues, for example, building more relationships with venues. As recommended suppliers, things like that. That's not something I've ever looked at before. So that's also something I want to look at. There's loads of things that I think, it's especially for me, there's like always ways I can be doing more or like doing better. That makes sense. But yeah, that's probably what I think. Next year, I think will be busier than this year. I have the same number of weddings booked for next year than I have this year.
Wow.
And a lot of the weddings that I booked for this year I booked either late last year or early this year. So yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a fully booked season. So yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
do you have a cap on like what you want to take already, or?
I kind of do, and I think I'm probably about 2/3 of the way there. But again, I think it really depends, just because I'm still growing. So it's like I've not reached. Again, I'm able to do this full time, but in terms of weddings, again, last year I had about 10. This year I've got 45. I'd like to do over 60 next year, and then see where I'm at. Because again, it's you don't realize until a big wedding season hits you how much work is needed for like recording demos and things like that, learning songs. So yeah, we'll see. We'll play it by ear and see how it goes. But I'm very, 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 very excited. Put it that way. Yeah, it's a dream. You're
smashing it. It's so good to see.
Thank you. Yeah.
So onto our quick fire round. Just some quick questions for some quick answers that always end up not being quick at all, but that's absolutely fine.
I'll do my best. Keep it punchy.
So question 1, what is the most effective thing that you've done to market yourself or your business?
Market myself, content.
Yeah.
Quality show reels. Good quality content and show reels, I would say.
Solid answer.
Yeah.
What have you done? No, sorry. I'm going to start that one again. What have you learned in the last 3 months that you wish you knew 3 years ago?
Ooh. In the last 3 months, I'd probably say that this is actually a possible thing, that you can be full-time as a musician.
Yeah.
I had a lot of self-doubt. Even now I have a lot of imposter syndrome. But I've learned in the last 3 months, I've just gained a lot more confidence in myself, I think. And I wish that I could give myself that 3 years ago to have maybe sped up the process slightly. But
Yeah, I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
If you were just starting out now, what is the first thing that you'd do?
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but get a good show reel. Content, make sure, get a good show reel, because then you can use that for everything. And also, I'd also say invest in good equipment.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to invest a little bit. It's scary, but it will make things a lot easier further down the line, I would probably say. Yeah.
Solid. What is the biggest mistake that you've made in your business, and what did you learn from it?
Oh, biggest mistake. I'm probably going to use, again, it's similar to one of my other answers, was being afraid to invest in myself and invest in good content. I keep coming back to content. I sound like a broken record, but it's honestly so, so, so important. And it took me a very long time to do that. And I think that just slowed things down massively, because I was using YouTube videos basically that I'd recorded at home. And I think that was probably losing me a lot of bookings and stuff. So I think not doing that sooner and being afraid to invest in that more, I would probably say, I think.
Yeah. And last question, do you use any specific tools or apps to help manage your business?
I do. I use a platform called Band Pencil, which has been a dream, basically. I've been using it, I think, now for about 6 months, so not an awfully long time. But as I was getting more people inquiring, more bookings, I had a Excel spreadsheet for a long time with just all of my couples, clients, whatever it was on there, which was, as you can imagine, slowly became a bit of a mess. So I use that kind of as my CRM. It's basically where everything goes, where people's the dates, times, contact details, set lists. I do my contracts on there. It's just nice. I've got reminders on there to poke people when a payment is needed, or when I need to send something to them, or when this is due, so that's been really helpful. That's
perfect.
Yeah.
CRM's come up a lot, but band pencil isn't one that I've heard of before. That's good. That's good to hear. So that's it. That brings us to an end. Thank you so much for coming on and having a chat with me again, especially in the busiest time of the year.
No worries. Thank you for having me. It's been really nice to just chat. So I don't normally get to. Yeah,
and good to catch up as well. We haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah. Always good to chat with you. But thank you.
So there we go. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And I just want to say a massive thank you to Ellen for coming on and sharing her story with us. If you want to find out a bit more about her, she's at Ellen Blane on Instagram, and her website is ellenblane.co.uk. If you want to help support the podcast, please give us a follow on Instagram at The Full-Time Function Musician. Share an episode, tell a friend, or leave a little review wherever you listen to podcasts. Next week's episode is an absolute banger, so definitely do not miss that one. But that's it for this one. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next week for episode 2.